Until now, we did not know. Let me lay a few of these details out, but I do want to warn you that this is graphic information and it is uncomfortable to hear this because we're talking about innocent kids who were killed in that home back in October. And not only that, this is evidence that likely will come out in court at some point. Whether it will be germane to who the killer is or not, that remains to be seen. But it could be evidence nonetheless. With that in mind, let me let you know what these sources have told News Nation. Number one, they told us that the victims, Kayla Gonzalez and Madison Mogan, were killed first, and they confirmed that Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were killed on the second floor afterwards. And these are some of the other details that they have released. They said that Ethan Chapin was killed in the doorway of Xana Kernodle's room before the killer set upon Xana. The sources say that it appeared Ethan had stepped partly into the hallway where the attack may have begun. These sources also say that Ethan Chapin suffered a slash to the neck.
Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for educational purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho quadruples. May the 4 victims rest in peace, condolence to the families, and may the correct justice be served. I hope all my subscribers are doing well. I wish everyone a pleasant week, a blessed week. Coming back to the Idaho Moscow quadruple case, Ashley Banfield just mentioned, this was in the beginning of the case, I just showed you all the clip where she clearly says her sources that are genuine sources told her in the beginning that Ethan Chapin was found on the corridor. He was attacked at the corridor, between the corridor and Xana's room. And I used to always say that was the truth, but then we have allegedly Hunter Johnson and other fraternity boys telling a so-called YouTube creator that he was found unalived on his bed, like he was sleeping, and that wasn't true. That is the reason we have to wait for the trial for the truth to come out, because even the fact that he was found at the corridor or was attacked at the corridor is something that is under the gag order. What I'm trying to say is it's interesting that he was found or was attacked between the corridor and Xana's room, because this is one of the theories of always trying to present, that it was a big possibility that there was a small gathering or party at that residence that night. A gathering of 4 or 5 maybe. 3, 4. And I'm talking about the couple. The reason I say that is you can see a couple of a glass beer bottle and 3 red cups on the table. Unless they didn't clean it up from the night before, I always look at not only behavior, which is part of CBT, I look at the surroundings, I analyze the place, what could have possibly happened, actions, what people say, what people don't say, everything matters. It's not only what is said. What is unsaid is more important than what is said. Sometimes you have to read between the lines. You have to let the crime scene talk to you. The crime scene, the walls, everything will explain to you what could have possibly happened. That's the reason the police knew from the start that it was a targeted attack. But then there was so much confusion in the beginning because the police said it was a targeted attack, which I believe them. They were correct in that. But then you had the prosecutor, William Thompson, coming and changing it and saying that it wasn't any of the victims that was the target, it was the house that was the target, the residence itself. And then I asked myself, is that the reason they demolished the house? Is that the reason they demolished it? To get rid of everything, the 3 male unidentified DNAs, thousands of other DNAs that are in this house. They didn't even know the couple's timeline that night. It was said that he went with his triplets and his sister Maisie, his roommate, went as a date with the other triplet, Hunter. That was between 8 to 9 at the Betty Blue Ball. 8 to 9. After 9, there was no pictures taken of the couple. Not of Ethan, not of XANAS. What could have gone wrong? The police are going according to the surviving roommates is fake timeline. I personally believe. They said that everyone was home at 1:45, which wasn't true. Because his friend got a text from him. That was between 2, that was at 2 a.m. He said he was still at the Sigma Chi fraternity party and he was on his way home. So that wouldn't have got him home till 2:10, 2:15. When that young man who got the text message from Eaton called and went to the police and gave them his statement and showed them the text, they still did not change the timeline. That is important. I wonder why.
Chanley, you've been there all day, all night. What's happening?
Hey, Benny, I have some new updates from when I was on with you last, and that is the photographers, the crime scene investigators still inside this home at the time because we can literally see them through the second-story window in their crime scene suits. You know, they cover themselves so they don't leave anything behind as they collect forensic evidence. We can see them up there on that second floor still working. But in the meantime, the third floor, there was the middle window on the third floor. The light was on when I was live with you last. Now the light is turned off on the third floor. But before we noticed the third floor window light, the light turned off through the window, there were photographers up there, like we witnessed on your show just moments ago on the second floor, CSI taking photos. As we can see now on the second floor, they're taking photos. So they're still actively working this scene. They've been here all day long. It's been roped off with crime scene tape. We've seen the victim's vehicle still parked up front. We've seen investigators walk in and out of the front door of this home carrying giant boxes, I presume full of evidence. On the backside, we witnessed investigators, of course, taking out evidence from the back door, which is the second floor of this house, through a sliding door. They were actually dusting for fingerprints on the back window pane next to that sliding door. And this is almost a week after 4 University of Idaho students were found brutally murdered inside this home. And what we've been hearing, what's being reported, is that 2 of the victims were on the second floor, where we see now the crime scene investigators collecting forensics, and on the third floor of this home is where they were actually located. We're also finding some new details from the Moscow Police Department this evening. They're confirming that, of course, the 4 murdered inside were stabbed to death multiple times while they were likely asleep. Some had defensive wounds, Maybe they heard what was going on and woke up. We don't know, but we're confirming there's no sign of any sexual assault or what maybe some have speculated as motive in this crime. Also, there were 2 surviving roommates in this multi-room home that were unharmed, and the detectives have ruled them out. They believe that the 2 surviving roommates and a young man that is seen in video at the food truck where 2 of the victims were hours before their death, they've ruled them out. They are not involved in this crime. Additionally, we learned from the police this evening that any rumors that these victims had been tied or gagged, that was not accurate. They still, though, aren't releasing who called 911 because they're saying that these murders happened around maybe 3 or 4 a.m. last Sunday morning. Police were not called until noon, and they arrived to this home with the front door wide open. They've released that there's no signs of forced entry in this home. And when we've been here, we've noticed that the front door has a door handle with a security code lock pad. That some sense of maybe security here at the home, but they say no forced entry. And this is still no murder weapon found. Still no suspect or suspects named. We know that the dumpsters that are to my right and left here at the home, they've collected items. They did mention that. And they also are confirming that they have contacted local businesses here to determine if a fixed blade knife had been recently purchased. The Idaho statesman had talked to a local hardware owner store, and he says that the police were in town asking about some kind of a combat style or Rambo style knife blade. And that's just so scary to think about here, Benny. And this happened here. I've been out in the town talking to people and neighbors without any arrest and really not much info from the authorities. Many people are still on edge and in fear, have left town. I've talked to the neighbors. I know I spoke with one with you live on air just an hour ago, but we've spoken to more since we've been out here. They say that, this is just steps from the University of Idaho campus. A lot of students live here, and so as you can imagine, the parties happen here. We're less than a block from Fraternity Row on campus, where 2 of the victims were at a party before their deaths. So the neighbors say that, it's usual to have parties in this area at this home where the crime scene is, and it's not unusual to hear out. The neighbor I talked to earlier said they just put on a fan, they drown out the noise, and they go to sleep. So it is unusually quiet.
I mentioned in the beginning of this clip that I believe there was a small gathering or party that happened either that same night or the night before. You see like 4 or 5 red cups, because if people weren't drinking out of it, then the cups would have been put inside each other like in a tall height. But the cups are ready to be drank off of. They've been drinking off. And there was a glass beer bottle on the table. Was E and Xana chilling at the living room when somebody surprised them, maybe from the first floor, since everyone had the key code? Or maybe somebody came in from the sliding door that somebody left open, maybe on purpose or by mistake. But I believe there was a little gathering there. I've said that plenty of times. There's certain things I always stick to what I say, because no matter how I twist and turn it, no matter how, not twist and turn it, no matter how I toss it up and down and try to find a rational way and every kind of way of thinking of it, there's certain things that I could just see from the beginning, that I still believe that my instincts are leading me right, because it's about common sense. I've always said there was a party, or there was a gathering at the living room. because of all the evidence lying there. It could be cups from older days, but I do not think so, because I've seen many pictures of the living room, and the girls seem to be always quite clean and neat. So let's not forget, Xana told her father that she was going to be chilling at home when he called her at midnight. So was Xana chilling with E maybe? Maybe he went to the Betty ball with his triplets between 8 to 9, and maybe he came home, or he went to the Sigma, and then they went to the Sigma Chi party together, and that's when everything seared up. I think E and Xana was chilling in the living room, and somebody surprised them from the first floor. Everyone has the code. They must have just, allegedly, not accusing anyone, but look at the timings, like the Banfield boys. Two of them had Van shoes on. They could have just come easily, attacked them. Because let's not forget, what did Kaylee's father say? See, he said there was a hell of a fight on the second floor. So if Xana and E were chilling in the living room, that makes the most sense, that somebody came and attacked them, like I said. The second thing I've always said that I still believe is that Kaylee was sleeping always in her room with Murphy, her dog. Because the affidavit clearly says that DM was supposed to be not only a surviving roommate but a witness, which she wasn't a witness at the start, before the timelines was changed. Says clearly that everyone came home by 1 a.m. She and BF says that. And DM clearly says in the affidavit that she heard somebody who sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog. So Kaylee would have been playing with her dog in her room. Kaylee's room wasn't packed to go. Yes, there was a bit packing going on there, but her pictures were hanging on the wall. She and Murphy would have been at their humble, respectful rooms. I always said that Maddie was by herself and Kaylee must have heard something. When she came running, it was too late. And I personally believe it's the four figures involved. Isn't it strange that nobody's spoken about them? The police have debunked everything. And the police have ruled out all the people who could have been involved. It looks like there are 4 or 5 red cups in a big green bowl. And there's a glass bottle of alcohol beverage. I'll try and find that too, because it's on the other side. You can't see it in this picture. The woman who's standing in the corridor with the forensic team does not have on any mask. She doesn't have on any forensic gear. Isn't that so unprofessional? Or is she a ghost? Or is it a guy actually? With the white beard. Then you have the others with the forensic kit on. Ann Taylor is doing an excellent job for a client. She seems to be really motivated, argumentative, She knows exactly what points to hit. I believe she and her team are doing an excellent research. It's going to be interesting to see who she brings as witnesses and how she'll try and win this one. She and her team, I believe, genuinely believe that BK is innocent. That remains to be seen. If he was involved or if he did it, or if he didn't even do it and he's innocent. I wonder why they demolished this house. But Ann Taylor was there with the team recording the crime scene. That was good. And I'm sure she has a team outside the scene, a digital team that are watching things on social media, making sense of what they could use in their defense, what witnesses they may intend to call. I really do believe that. Let's not forget, there's hundreds of YouTube creators who worked on this case and in many other cases. Everyone has a different way of working. With our subscribers and viewers and all. It's like we all have plenty of ideas, thoughts, speculations that are kind of reasonable. So I'm sure they're going to use some of them without even mentioning where they got it from. But like rational questions, we have intelligent questions on social media. And we do our research. Not everything may be factual, but a lot is factual. There's many things behind the scene that they're not telling us. And social media exposes it. We just want the correct justice for the 4 victims. And for BK himself. If he's guilty, he deserves what's coming to him. But imagine if he's innocent. Is Idaho Moscow willing really to put an innocent man, his life, in danger? That's not what justice is about. He's entitled to his fair share of justice, the correct justice. And I hope that this case is moved out of Latah County because it's not right. It's absolutely not right. You saw what happened when Ann Taylor and her team did the quiz. Just the questions they asked. The prosecutor started having a attack. High blood pressure, I guess. Certain things are not allowed to be asked. They just want to cover this up and just point their fingers at BK and wrap it up. But they're not asking us the main questions. Who was those four figures running? Was it all just coincidence that a woman was yelling, "Stop it, stop"? Was it a coincidence that 4 figures were running around at 3:12? Was it a coincidence that the Banfield stop happened at 3:01? 2:55 started from? Was it a coincidence that black truck was driving near Taylor Avenue, by Taylor Avenue? Is it a coincidence that the 4chan makes so much sense, although it's anonymous? Maybe Brian Christopher Koberger wasn't actually around these areas. I don't trust the surviving roommates. I'm entitled to my opinion. They could be victims, they could be innocent, but I don't buy the fact that 2 adult women did not call 911 for 8 hours. And if you go to the previous timeline, where it was between 3 to 4, that means 9 hours. Make that make sense, DM. Didn't you need the toilet? People were fighting for their life, DM. There was a hell of a fight going on the 2nd floor, according to Steve Gongalves. What do you say about that? You were in the house. You were texting. BF or BF was texting you. You were texting each other. What happened? Jack Showalter was passing threats. You know they're going to get you for that, Maddie. And nothing. And after a couple of hours, or maybe even after 2 hours, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Eve were gone. Who passes threats that become real? Where was Jack D? Why was his face swollen, allegedly? These are my questions. Please like, share, and subscribe, guys.